What is going on, everyone? It is Rob and Jonny. Welcome to episode 26 of the MMArcade podcast. Rob, it's only been like 3 days, I swear. 3 days since the last episode.
I know. This is exact. I was thinking that just before. This is exactly why we can't drop episodes late in the week, because it feels like we talk too quickly. Like we're back in the hot seat too soon.
Yeah. We are very lucky, though, that there is a big card to talk about at least and some news, because I was worried that in the 2-3 days between podcasts that we wouldn't have anything to talk about. We got lucky this time.
Yeah. And it's like, what are we going to? What's changed in the? What are we reading, watching, playing? You know what I mean? It's been 2 days. It's like,
I've got something though. I've got something big that I want to talk about for that section.
Oh, something world-shattering happened in 2 days.
I reckon anime lovers will absolutely agree with me. You might not, but I reckon everyone else will.
We'll save it.
So we've got...
Better have nothing to do with Demon Slayer.
Nothing to do with Demon Slayer, but another one you don't like. But we have a bunch of UFC news. Obviously, we have our predictions for UFC 295 to go through. So we want to start off with the UFC news, Rob. There was a bit of a confusion over the past few days between Makachev, Oliveira. When are they fighting? Are they going to be fighting? Obviously, we all suspect that they are going to be having their rematch eventually. Ariel Helwani, a few days ago, came out with some news, and he said the current plan, though it's not finalized, is to have Makachev versus Oliveira 2 to headline UFC 297 in January in Toronto. And obviously, you remember that Topuria was meant to fight Volkanovski then. And then it turns out that it was Volk's manager, Ali, came out and said, no, that's fake news. They're not going to be headlining January 20. And it looks like the earliest Makhachev will be ready to defend his title is in March, specifically March 9. It was just kind of crazy. So I guess we know that, yes, definitely Makachev is going to be versing Oliveira, but apparently Volk Topuria is still the aim for January. I don't know what to make of this.
Yeah, that's just standard UFC news. But also I can't see why Makachev and Oliveira would fight in Toronto of all places. I feel like champs have a big say in where they want to fight.
Yeah,
but that just seems like a random spot for both of them. I don't know, but we'll find out.
I'm still keen to see that rematch, obviously, but I think what surprises me though, I'm still surprised that Volk is aiming to fight in January. I know he said otherwise, but like after a loss like that, he's going to be fighting Topuria, who is very, very capable of doing something very similar. I'm worried about him if he was going to fight in January. I think he should take another couple months off if the UFC were to allow it. And surely they would. Surely for Volk, they'll be like, yeah, take some time off.
Oh, definitely. Fine. He's one of the most active champions in like right now.
Yeah.
It's and it's one of those things. I'm very curious. Like, obviously I want to see Oliveira and Makachev fight, but Volk and Topuria, right? That seeing how Volk bounces back from that Makachev loss, the way he lost, and just seeing him turn it back on. It's very, very curious, because it could be two things. One, maybe just rolling on with it, dusting yourself off, getting back on the horse. It's the best course of action. Just get straight back into the thick of things before you really sit down and let it sink into your mind. Or maybe you did need to sit down and let it sink in and just really reflect on what happened, come to terms with it so that it doesn't affect you in the next bout. I'm very curious to see what happens in that next fight, but yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, that was the quick bit of UFC news. Obviously, we had a fight on the weekend as well. UFC Fight Night, Almeida versus Derrick Lewis. Rob, did you end up watching this fight? I did. My wife and I did. We put up through 5 rounds of that fight. What did you think? Before I say my piece, what did you think of Almeida versus Derrick Lewis?
Yeah, before I jump in, I want you to ask me your questions. Go ask me. I can see them written here. Hit me with them so that I have something to bounce off, because I do have a bit of a pickle, a bit of a conundrum.
I'm going to go literally with what I have at number 1 here. The number 1 most talked about sentiment after the fight, and I have to agree, it was a bit boring, bro. It was a little bit boring. It was a much of nothing. Like, I appreciate, as much as the next guy, high-level jiu-jitsu, high-level grappling, high-level wrestling. That's not what this was. It was, yes, complete domination by Almeida, but it was just boring. It was just him all over Lewis for, what was it, 20, 21 minutes? Like the most control time that we've seen in heavyweight, I think, ever. I think it broke a record. Lewis just seemed bored. He seemed like he could get a pillow and go to bed. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm being too critical, but that's how a lot of people saw the fight anyway.
Yeah. Go ask the next one. We'll do it all at once.
Why?
We'll do it all at once.
Okay.
Please.
Why didn't the ref stand up the fight at any stage? Do you have an opinion on this?
Yeah, definitely. That's the big ticket
that's what you wanted to talk about. All right.
Yeah, because like it kind of leads into all of it. If I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Jailton Almeida. I said it last week. He reminds me of Jacare. Guy just looks strong. He's athletic. Mate, the way he was taking Lewis down, Lewis is a big dude. And if you think Derrick didn't know that Almeida was just going to spam takedowns, yeah, he knew.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and so he would have trained with it. And you could see in the way that he was defending the shots, he did train for it. He was trying to do the things, but Jailton, he has good wrestling and he's strong and fit and he was scrambling hard after it. He was chasing those takedowns. And I'm going to be honest, you know, looking at that fight, the only times Almeida looked in trouble was every time they were standing.
Yeah.
Because Lewis knew what he had to do. Lewis had an absolute understanding of how he was going to win that fight and how he was going to lose that fight. And mate, every time Lewis was on his feet, he looked dangerous. Every single time, from the start of the first to the start of the fifth, he looked dangerous. Okay?
Yeah.
And Almeida, the smart fighter, wanted no business with the nasty ends of his gloves and just shot. And, you know, he controlled Lewis like utterly. It was like, honestly, it's weird. It was weird to watch. Okay. Yeah. Now, the ref can't stand up fights. When Jailton's in mount, okay? Mount.
But he's doing nothing in mount. That was the problem.
Position.
He was doing nothing.
You know,
for a lot of it.
And that's the weird thing I got to say. That's what was, you know, confusing me a little because, like, have you heard Derrick Lewis saying jiu-jitsu doesn't work? Dude, he half made me believe it in that fight because dude, Lewis was just laying there like uninterested, like
bored. Yeah.
Get off me, bro. You know what I mean? And like it was crazy to see, dude. Like the guy had 21 minutes. I'm gonna say I reckon he had about 19 of those minutes in mount.
Yeah,
in mount, and Lewis didn't get beat up. He didn't get submitted. He just kind of laid there uninterested, like literally looking at him like, get off me, dude. It was weird to see. I don't know why Almeida wasn't doing more on top. Maybe he was trying to preserve his energy because let's not forget, these guys are like 260-pound guys. These are massive dudes.
Yeah.
Units of men, right? So like to wrestle the way Almeida was doing it and stuff drains a lot of energy resource. But still, I don't know, he wasn't throwing a lot of elbows, wasn't really trying to get a lot of significant shots. If you look at the strike number, it is pretty full on. Like there was a lot of shots landed, and Lewis obviously spending 21 minutes on the ground didn't land that many, right? But the ref, I agree. What do you do? What do you do in a fight like that? Because like a referee cannot stand up a grounded fighter when the guy has an advantageous position like a half guard or mount or back. Like you can't, regardless of whether they're doing anything. Like one guy has been getting held down. If you get held down for 25 minutes and you can't get back up, dude, like I don't know, you can't really say you've lost, but you certainly haven't won.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a good point, man. I think you bring up a good point about him reserving his energy because this was a 5-round fight, right? So it wasn't a 3-round. So I could see in Almeida's head, I've got to make sure that I, reserve as much energy as possible so I can still survive in the 5th, just in case Derrick Lewis tries to get an uppercut, which he tried to do, especially as Jailton tried to go in for a lot of those shoots. But what I will say is that for a guy in the last episode, I think it was like 5 of his last 7 fights, he's won by submission, specifically by rear naked choke. For someone that has that in his arsenal, and to not try and weaken Derrick, soften him up, use the elbows, punches to the body, he just did none of that. And I was like, for sure, in the 3rd, 4th, absolutely the 5th, he's gonna submit Derrick. He's gonna do something, but it just never happened. If he had done what he did, and at least in the 3rd or the 4th, went for a choke and actually got it, I would have been happy with that performance. But he didn't do any of that. And that brings me to the next question. Like, how the hell is he going to do against someone like Curtis Blades, who has excellent takedown defense, or someone like Pavlovich or Aspinall? Like, there's not, like, I don't know. I don't know how Jailton's going to go against those dudes after that performance.
Oh, yeah, but he's got really good jiu-jitsu. He's got really good jiu-jitsu. And surprisingly, Derrick Lewis has really good defense. Like jiu-jitsu defense.
He put up a good show. I agree.
He was countering him pretty well. Obviously he had studied the tape and he had done his homework on it. But yeah, man, it's a strange position because like wasn't the most exciting fight. Jailton won the fight. Yeah. But yeah, fights they sometimes look like that just because of the rules and just the way the game is,
I'll say that Jailton needs to have his fight against Blades. Obviously, that was meant to be the fight before Blades pulled out. That absolutely needs to happen. I think if Jailton wins that fight against Blades, I'll eat my words and I'll say, all right, he's definitely up there. He can fight those top 5 ranked dudes. But after that performance, I think he needs to do a little bit more convincing, especially in the eyes of the UFC.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was a pretty. No, I'm gonna disagree with you because I think Jailton, he went in there with a game plan and executed it to 100% ability.
I'm not doubting that, Lewis, man. I'm saying he won the fight
on his back.
Yeah,
on his back, laying there for 21 minutes, dude. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It just didn't make for a fun fight. Yeah, you're right. Look, I'm not doubting that he didn't like execute his game plan to perfection. Like he did what he needed to do to win. And there were moments there, as I said, where Derrick could have absolutely knocked Jailton out. But it just didn't make for a fun fight. I wanted a more fun main event. Maybe I'm asking for too much, Rob.
Mate, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles.
Fair. Well,
especially when you're talking about heavyweights, you want to see two bangers. Like you want to see 2 slug fests.
Absolutely.
But
there's nothing wrong with
that. Especially when Derrick Lewis is involved. But
yeah.
To be fair, you and everybody else, if you're in Almeida's position, you'd be shooting for his ankles out of the gate.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Out of the gate, dude. Out of the gate. Because Lucas has some nasty power. Like I said, he was dangerous at the beginning of every round.
For sure.
And
Well, let's move on to UFC 295 predictions. We have 2 big fights to talk about. First up, we are going to be starting off with the main event, the light heavyweight title. Jiri Prochazka against Alex Pereira. First of all, Prochazka, 29 wins, 3 losses. He has 25 wins by knockout. That's a crazy stat. He's obviously coming off his win against Glover Teixeira, winning the actual title, but he obviously vacated it due to his injury. Pereira, 8 wins, 2 losses, 6 by knockout, coming up a win against Jan Blachowicz. Some would say not too convincingly. We can talk about that a little if you want. But, Rob, let's break this down. Prochazka against Pereira. What do you think, man? This is going to be a good fight.
Mate, this is going to be a gnarly fight. It's crazy for so many different reasons. Obviously, Pereira's got amazing striking game. And we've seen it in his fights. And this is his weight division. He's got the range, he's got the reach, he's got the height. So he looks good in this division. But Jiri, he's so unorthodox. He's so hard to get a read on. But he's very hittable. I saw him in deep waters when he fought Glover. I was actually ringside for that, thankfully. And like Jiri looked in deep waters with some of those shots he was taking from Glover. but he just never went away. Just never went away, and was kind of always like doing his unorthodox type fighting. Or it was such a obviously Glover was having a tough read of it, but he was landing big shots
for sure.
But again, regardless, like Glover looked really, really good, and then lost. Jiri has an uncanny ability to find the win in these fights, in these harder fights, but also in the fights. He looks to be outclassed. He finds the wins, and you saw that with Dominic Reyes. He finds the win. Like Reyes is a very good striker. You saw the way he fought John Jones, but Jiri just finds a way to win. He's got such unorthodox striking. He can see kill shots.
Yeah.
And he goes for them instinctually. I'm very curious to see how this fight plays out.
So currently at the moment, Pereira is the favorite to win. Not by much. I just watched the Prochazka and Teixeira fight. First of all, that was a banger of a fight. That was so bloody good. All 5 rounds. Dude. And Glover, as you said, he was getting some awesome shots on Jiri, and he just wouldn't back off. And obviously, I think it's going to be a very different fight. Like Teixeira is a jiu-jitsu artist. I don't think this one against Pereira is going to go to the ground as much. It might. Jiri clearly has fantastic grappling, fantastic defense. But I think this one's going to be one where they stand up, just trade. The thing that I will say about Jiri is that he lets down his hands a lot, and Pereira has this a lot. And Alex has this tendency of striking, especially his kicks, but snapping really quickly. Like you don't know where his strikes are coming from. He has that weird stance with his hands up. I do worry that Jiri is going to get smacked on the chin, because he did against Glover. He was shaky a little bit. He obviously didn't get knocked out. But that's the one thing that I'll say. Jiri, he needs to be a little bit more careful than he was against Glover. That's all I'll say.
And you're exactly right. I was saying that in that Glover fight, he took some crazy shots, and there are a lot of times I was ringside and I was looking in, and I was sure Jiri was dead, dude. Yeah. Like dead on his feet. Like he took big shots, but again, his hands down, hands in his pockets, guys moving around, doing his thing, never went away, and still found the win somehow, And you say like, it could be seen as a liability, his hands low, but that's kind of plays into his unorthodox style where he moves around, almost flows and dances with the shots a little bit, because he lands those awkward, unorthodox strikes a lot of the time, and they hurt. You see him in a lot of his other fights. He hurts those guys, and he 29 wins, like 25 wins by knockout, dude. That's
insane.
That's not a fluke.
No.
Yeah. There's a method to his madness, and I guess that's the biggest question though. Alex Pereira being one of the better strikers in the UFC at this moment, right? Very textbook though.
Yeah.
Versus Jiri, like again, one of the better one of the best light heavyweights at the moment. Very unorthodox striking. How are they going to pair up? And it is because you don't know, because you can say Alex is going to find his mark and land one on Jiri's chin. Jiri is very hittable and he keeps his hands down. You could say that. Or you could say Jiri, with his unorthodox style, is going to fire something Alex doesn't see and he gets put out as well. Because Jiri has had a lot of wins via knockout as well. Both huge dudes, like long range. Both guys have reach.
Yeah.
And that's what makes MMA so exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
We could see something completely different in Jiri goes in for a double leg, dude. You don't know, and I don't know. I'm very interested.
Isn't it the case as well that isn't Alex training with Glover for this fight? I'm pretty sure someone said something about that. But to your point, like we just saw Alex when
I'm pretty sure Alex trains with Glover though. Like
there you go,
teammates.
Yeah. So obviously he's going to be giving him all the inside tips, but I will say, based on what you said too, when Alex fought Izzy, we saw he obviously has lapses in his defense, especially when he's going forward and he's throwing hands. And when you saw him fight against Jan wasn't doing anything spectacular on the stand-up. Like, he was just throwing his regular punches, and he was still connecting against Alex. How is Alex going to handle someone like Prochazka, who's just, you can't see where he's going. He's fighting like Eddie from Tekken Dude sometimes. Like, his hands are down, but he goes calm and throw elbows out of nowhere. Like, what are you doing? But it's clearly effective.
Yeah, I get, you know what? I get like, sometimes when I watch him fight, I get like, it was a Tony Ferguson vibe sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like old school Ferguson vibes.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I don't know how to read this one. I think the safe bet would have to be Alex Pereira, because you can just go like a basic maths. Glover can hit him. Pereira will. Alex will. But in saying that, I don't know. Jiri, like I said, he has an uncanny knack of chasing the win, of finding that win in tough situations, in uphill fights when his back's against the wall. It's how much is he betting? I'm gonna go.
I think Pereira was like $1.
My good friend unibet.com.
Yeah, I think it was like $1.70-ish, and then Prochazka was like $2.10. Something like that.
I have to see this.
It's close. It's going to be a close fight.
I also remember seeing footage of Jiri practicing his kicks, like working his kickboxing.
Yeah. Specifically for the Alex fight. Clip. Specifically.
Yeah, like throwing kicks. So maybe.
But is that what he wants to do? Does he really want to trade kickboxing with Alex? Like, really? Well, I don't know.
You know, throwing kicks helps you understand to a degree of catching kicks, you know, and taking kicks. You just
fair
a little bit, you know. Okay, so on Unibet, Jiri's paying $2.20 to Alex Pereira's $1.67. You see?
Wow, that's even more than I thought. Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely slip Jiri into a multi for sure. $2.20, like, I don't think it's that much of a shoe-in.
No, I
don't think it's that much of a shoe-in, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I like Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
Nothing personal, but my tip is going to be Jiri for the win. I don't know what it is. I've got a feeling his unorthodox fighting finds a hole in Alex's game, and he gets hit with it. I do think Alex is going to land some shots, but mate, honestly, seeing the way he took those shots against Glover in Singapore that time,
I
don't know. Jiri, he's a little crazy, dude. He's a little crazy.
He is a little crazy.
So I got Jiri for this one. I'm gonna go Jiri.
All right, I'm gonna go with Alex purely to play devil's advocate, but also I do think Alex is going to clock him when he's letting his hands down. So let's see how that goes. Let us know your predictions in the comments below.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, he's going to clock him. I'm just hoping he doesn't knock him out. You know what I mean? Because as long as Yuri's not knocked out, there's a chance. So.
All right. No, we're definitely keen to see what you say in the comments below.
Yeah, please do. Tell us what you think.
And obviously, man, we talked about this a little last week, but we've got to do our official breakdown, official predictions. Sergei Pavlovich against Tom Aspinall. This is going to be a banger. We got Pavlovich, 18 wins, only the one loss. He has 15 wins by knockout. 6 of his last wins have all been TKO or KO. He recently beat Blades, Tuivasa, Derrick Lewis, speaking of. Aspinall, 13 wins, 3 losses. Obviously, one injury, one of those losses. Another was a DQ. He has 10 wins by knockout, 3 submissions. He's beaten Tybura, Volkov, and Spivak. His loss against Blaze was due to injury, as I said. Rob, let's break this one down. Pavlovich, Aspinall. This is I'm actually slightly more excited, I think, for this one. I only think because I don't think it's making it out of the first round. But what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I saw a lot of guys writing it down in the comments last week, but power is the world's the greatest equalizer.
Yeah.
And I think this fight goes 2 ways. Like, Aspinall bashes him too quick, too fast. His movement's too much on point. Keeps him at the end of his jab, end of his kicks the entire time until he, I think, TKO stops Pavlovich. Can't see heavyweights going the 5 rounds, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of Aspinall's thing. He just takes his time because he's a big dude, but he's fast and he's light. He just moves around, breaks you down, and then he turns you off. Or we'll see Pavlovich go in there and just go rah and win, and just clock Aspinall and win. I would be, because Pavlovich has some scary power. He would have to be the heaviest hitter in the heavyweight division at the moment. Oh, or at least up there. Nah.
I would say that he's the heaviest. I would say.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Dude, I saw this crazy stat that I think it was out of the 14 fights in the UFC between them, only Aspinall's made it to the second round, right? Like, Sergei barely makes it out of the first because he keeps knocking people out. I kind of want to lean towards... That's
exactly what I was looking up just now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just want to be like, has Sergei had much experience fighting past
He really
round
hasn't.
one?
No, at least not in the UFC. I think out of the UFC he has. But I see this ending in the first, if I want to get really specific with the prediction. But I feel Pavlovich's power will be too much for Aspinall. Unless Aspinall can just really utilize his speed to overwhelm Pavlovich, but I just don't see that happening against Pavlovich. I don't know why, man. I feel like this is going to be knockout in the first.
Yeah, it's crazy like that, and you can see with his latest steamroll of first round knockouts that his confidence in his ability to knock people out, especially when he's in the firing range, like with Ty in his last fight, with Tuivasa, and they're both. Yeah, he's chasing it, and Ty's throwing heavy too, and Pavlovich is there for it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they just start firing cannons. It's the only times he's been taken to a decision were pre-UFC. Obviously, he's gotten a ton better since then. This is a tough one to pick.
It's really hard
because I love I love the way Aspinall fights. I love the bouncy movement. I love the speed. That's how I fight a lot of the time. Yeah. I enjoy that. And I love seeing a heavy set dude do it. He's got a great skill set.
You're hesitating.
Who do you pick? Who do you pick? Because like the guys in the comments said, power is the greatest equalizer.
Come on, if gun to your head, if you would have to choose.
Well, because I had this. Everyone had the same problem with Ngannou. It was the same thing. It was like Ngannou would go up against a lot of guys and be like, "Well, Ngannou's done it," and then he just roar, and like a tidal wave would run over him, and then no, Blade's going to take him down, and then roar,
smack him.
Dude, but it just kept happening. Yeah. It just kept happening, and until you realize, Ngannou's just got to win somehow. Just got to land his mitts on his face somehow and just win.
Yeah,
I don't know. Who have you got? You go first.
I'm definitely going to go Pavlovich. I really rate Aspinall too, especially as you said, his style as a heavyweight. You don't see it that often. It's a nice breath of fresh air. But I think Pavlovich is just going to knock him out. It's as simple as that. I'm not confident, but that's what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah, it's tricky. I'll play devil's advocate this one, and I'm going to ask Aspinall. I think he can keep him on the end of his jab and just slowly pick him up pick him apart, use his distance, his movement well. I think he will shoot. I think we will see takedowns. I see him using kicks to try and slow Pavlovich moving in. And to try and slow Pavlovich down. And let's say if Pavlovich does start to slow down, Aspinall will take him home. So I got Aspinall.
All right. Let us know what you think in the comments. We've got about 5-6 days until the event, so plenty of time for the discussion. Rob, that's pretty much it for this week's UFC. Again, we had a bit to talk about even after UFC only 2 days.
Done. Yeah,
it does.
UFC Dunskies.
It does mean though that there's not too much games news to talk about, unless you're a Blizzard fan, and we'll talk about why in a second. But let's get to the games news. There's 2 big pieces of news to talk about this week. First of all, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. It is coming out very soon, I think in 4 days of the recording of this video. But unfortunately, the single-player campaign is not looking too good. IGN has rated it 4 out of 10. And listen to this for a review. They call it boring and a, quote, pale imitation of the past made of underbaked story moments that clash with attempts to introduce new open combat missions designed to encourage player freedom that instead fall flat on their face. But they do say the gunplay is great and the graphics and sound design are top tier. So to me, that suggests once they actually review the multiplayer, once it's out, that's probably still going to be good or typical Call of Duty. But the single-player campaign, and it's not just them, other outlets were rating it 4 out of 10 too. Things are not looking good. Rob, what do you think about Call of Duty, man?
Mate, I didn't even know Call of Duty had a single-player mode.
They're still trying.
Actually, you know what? No, I do know because my dad plays it. Right? Dude, if you enjoy that type of gameplay, if you enjoy single-player Call of Duty, all props to you. But understand that Call of Duty, like since they launched online many, many years ago, they have only doubled down every year since. Okay,
100%.
And I think that is where 90% of their attention, developers, money, time span is spent. Like, and unfortunately that's just the way the company has developed because of the success of the online. And let me tell you, if you play the online, if you play the single player campaign, try online. Okay, it's crap sometimes. It's crap sometimes. Like sometimes you just get wiped and you can't do anything and it's crap. But sometimes it's great. Yeah. You know, sometimes it's great and it's funny. Find a mate and just give it a go.
It's when you get a roll on and you're on like a 10 KD, 15 KD, 20 KD. Those are the best Call of Duty moments.
And you're with your mates and you guys are like you and one other squad left and you're screaming at each other. Like it is a great time to have like with your friends. Yeah. It's a lot of fun and you can like 5 hours can just go by in a flash. It's cool.
Yeah. What I will say about the single player, obviously after these reviews, I think they should, I don't know, they have Warzone already, which is obviously pure multiplayer, so they still like to have their single player in the main Call of Duty series. But I wouldn't say do away with it, but I don't know, man. I'm much more of a fan nowadays anyways of zombies. I think zombies is just awesome. More focus should go to zombies, slightly less on the campaign, because most people are just playing the campaign once and they're going to multiplayer or they're going to zombies anyways. So they probably have to freshen it up a lot, either nix it or completely revamp single player to get people back on board. But also maybe there's no harm in skipping a Call of Duty. Like they're releasing them all the time. Maybe we could go 2 years without a Call of Duty. They can focus on Warzone and then we see a new one in a couple of years. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But also, I don't know how much you can look into or take for gospel these reviewers, these review scores, right?
You gotta wait.
There has been too many times I've seen these reviewers, these review websites give a game a terrible rating and it's great, or they've given the game a great rating and it is absolutely garbage.
Very funny. So obviously there are different people that at IGN specifically that review games, right? So they came out with this one 4 out of 10. There was another IGN reviewer that was like, it seems like it's a bad game and they've gone back to Call of Duty Ghost style because that was a bad game. And then someone pulled up the review for Call of Duty Ghost from IGN and it was 8 out of 10. So like within the company, they clearly can't agree on a review score. Review scores are hard, bro. Yeah. They're very, very hard.
Suspicious, almost. Suspicious, almost. No, everyone knows. Yeah. Everyone knows. The only reviews worth looking or reading through is Steam. That's the only way.
Well, you were going to town on Steam reviews the other day. You remember that?
Oh yeah. Like don't read the first 4 and give up. Nah, because it's also entertaining. You need to go to recent. You need to go. You can go back to like when it launched. You can go to most helpful. Like jump the queues, have a look around, do your research, use your brain.
Yeah.
But like some of the reviews are amazing. Like they are so funny to watch. Like you'll see a dude be like, "It's all right." Dude's got like 2,000 hours played, like something stupid like that, right? Or and a lot of these guys on Steam review, like they give really broken down reviews.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
It's worth looking into it. I was hammering some guys because the guys that I was hammering are like the little salty boys just writing up their one piece. Like they're two-liners. This is trash. It froze my computer. Well, fucking, what do you want? Get off your potato, dude. Like it tells you the specs beforehand. Don't bring down an entire Steam review rating based on your computer's capabilities. I have a computer that can't play every game. I sit here writing bad reviews for people about it. You know what I mean? Just play other games.
Speaking of which, are you going to get your new computer? You've been talking about it for a while. Is it happening?
One of those things like I say I'll do it, and then the idea of setting up a new computer, like rewiring my desk. Oh,
True.
It's like resetting up the cameras. I just got everything working, dude. Like the idea of setting up the cameras and the microphones and everything again.
Fair.
Like I got everything that it works right now, and I don't want to touch it, move it, shake it, or anything.
It sounds like what you could just do with a GPU upgrade. If you just got, and I say just got, they're expensive, but you get a 4090 or a 4080, I think your CPU is still pretty good. That's going to get you by most games, in my opinion. Just get a GPU upgrade.
Yeah. Oh, I'm all right. I play a lot of indie games anyway. I'm all good.
Did you? we wouldn't know off this podcast alone. You never play AAAs.
I just play 2D games anyway most of the time, so we're good.
The next piece of game news that we have to talk about is BlizzCon 2023. Personally, I'm not a huge Blizzard fan, but they did announce a bunch of stuff. Diablo 4's first expansion. Blizzard announces the next 3 expansions of World of Warcraft. Classic is also getting the Cataclysm expansion. Overwatch 2 has a new hero. Diablo tabletop RPG announced, and even Phil Spencer came out. Of course, now that Blizzard has been acquired by Microsoft, came out at the opening ceremony, gave a little bit of a spiel. Rob, is there anything in there for all those BlizzCon announcements that interests you at all?
Mate, I have been hearing WoW is dead or dying forever for like the last 10 years.
It'll never die.
And now that the next 3 expansions have been announced, I'm pretty sure it'll be here for my kids and my kids' kids and their kids. Like, especially with the purchase from Microsoft, like it's not going anywhere, I don't think.
No, I think people that say that just like to say that, similar to what you were saying about Steam reviews, they'll say it for an article or they'll say it for a video, it'll be edgy. Yeah. But the fact is, you don't announce 3 expansions for World of Warcraft if you aren't making bloody money from it, right? They are making hand over fist.
Smash 20 hours.
Yeah, 100%. It's so popular. And the thing that I keep saying is that the games industry is so big. Every little gaming bubble now, whether it's Starfield, World of Warcraft, Diablo, they're all massive now, but no one, like, unless you're in that community, you don't really hear about it on a day-to-day or a week-to-week anymore, because next week there's another 5 good games that get announced. So I think there's a lot of that going on where people just don't realize how popular the game still is.
Yeah, it makes me wonder about Classic. Because I jumped into Classic for a big chunk, and that was fun for a bit. But is the idea to just keep going through the expansion packs until
I think so.
They catch up, and then what? They bring out a new Classic.
I honestly don't know what the deal with Classic is. I mean, like, would you consider getting back into it based off that?
Cataclysm? No, I didn't even jump into the last one.
Yeah.
What was the last one? The Lich King. I missed that one. I jumped on the Classic when it first came out, and I don't know. Like, you have to really be anything worth talking about in that game.
Yeah.
You have to live on that game, dude. Like, live on that game. It is a massive time commitment.
Dude, I've heard stories of people that are so hardcore World of Warcraft fans, that they'll literally move their house or like they'll rent elsewhere, which is closer to the server, so they have better ping with the server of World of Warcraft. Like that's how committed they are. That blows my mind, bro. Like I literally uplifting your whole life just to be a little bit better at the game. It's crazy to me. Actually crazy.
But then if like WoW has a huge portion of your life, really you're not uprooting anything. You know, you're just bringing over what.
Yeah, but it's a video game. I love video games as much as the next guy, but goddamn.
No, you don't love them enough,
You don't
Johnny.
love them enough, clearly.
That's what it is. You don't love them enough, obviously. You're not going to move houses for it. How can you call yourself a gamer, dude?
To be fair, like on the flip side, there are people that like if you're doing competitive esports, you'll get the hell out of Australia because then you have crap ping, especially if there aren't servers here. So that I understand. But like moving within states in America or wherever you are to be a little bit closer to the server, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll never understand.
And Diablo 4, I've only been hearing bad things about Diablo 4 since it launched. But DLC's coming out, so obviously it can't be that bad again. You never know. I thought it was actually a great game. Like I thought it was super fun. I just found that like once I hit endgame, there wasn't a lot for me to do. Like I didn't really want to spend 20 hours grinding out like 20% extra crit chance or something like that on a piece of items. Like it did not interest me.
No, I completely get it. Again, I felt the same way when I eventually got to the end of my tether with Fallout 76. Like, why am I playing it for another week to try and get this weapon that has literally just another 2% more damage or crit or whatever, just to perform a little bit better when I'm killing enemies? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Fallout 76 has base building, and you see that.
That's different. That is different.
That can keep you around for a long time. Even if you're doing boring stuff, you can always just retreat to your house and then.
So is that what you're saying? Diablo needs to introduce base building, sim style base building.
I think every game needs base building, dude. I'm a massive fan of base building. Like, I think every game can be made better with it. That's the truth of it.
Fair enough. Well, that is the games news. Again, it's only been 3 days since the last time that we chat, but there wasn't too much games news in the meantime. Next topic is what we're watching, playing, and reading. We kind of did. Rob, in the 3 days, have you been watching, playing, or reading anything new?
I have been reading something new.
Oh yeah, tell us about it.
It's and it's actually I'm up to the second book now. I smashed the first one like yesterday.
Yeah.
It's called if you like reincarnation type books, it's called Bastard something.
Okay.
Bastard.
Wait, this was the one that you were like, if it's good enough, I'll talk about it on this podcast.
I dropped that book and picked up a new one. And then just smashed through this one because this one's good. Like this one. Okay. This one I'm excited to like find 10 minutes of quiet so I can just whip it out and start reading.
Yeah, like, nice.
It's a good book. It's a good book. It's your standard like reincarnation trope. Like OP dude dies, gets reincarnated as some other dude, super OP still, starts running amok on people. Like
sounds fun.
It's done in a good way, dude. In terms of playing, I haven't been playing anything differently. I tried RimWorld for a bit while I was watching the fights yesterday because RimWorld can get a bit grindy, especially if you're playing like solo colonists. So my dude's got 400 chores to do during a day. He's got to like water the plants, cut the wood, build the things, study the things, like smooth out the rocks. Like he's got so much to do. So I just press like play and then let it go on by itself for ages while I watch fights and just come back for like crises or getting raided or whatever. So, but me mates, have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons, dude?
You know what? I actually haven't. Like, it's crazy to say because you and like everyone that I know plays D&D. I have never actually sat down and played it. Yeah, I know. It's the one shame that I have.
No. It's actually like I think it's pretty difficult to get into unless you got like a mate that like does it religiously. I think it's actually pretty tricky to get into because I've only gotten into it like actual D&D maybe the last year and a bit maybe. But and I'm having a campaign with me mates, and this is the first campaign I've ever been in, and it was hilarious last night.
Nice.
Like anybody, if you get a chance to play in D&D, go in with 2 feet, with both feet, and just enjoy yourself. Like if you're embarrassed to do something, then just get out there and do it. Play your role. It is hilarious. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of fun. Like it's a lot of fun. Like so your mates you play like your Call of Duties with, or like your games. No, your group of your circle of friends. Picture every one of you boys like pretending to be some medieval people trying to run amok through a dungeon, dude. It is so funny because the boys are the boys, right?
Yeah.
But now one's a barbarian, one's an archer. We're like making fun of each other, but our dungeon master's like he's really cool because he lets us play around and he kind of reacts to it appropriately. It's sick. It's a lot of fun. So that's what I've been playing. And if you guys get a chance to jump into a group at any time, jump into it because it is a sick experience. I look forward. We only get together once a week to keep it going, but it is so much fun.
That's cool, dude. As I said, I've always wanted to get into it. I know, like, I have a good group of friends that do it on a regular. They'll even stream it. Once I get some time, once I'm in the mood, I think I'll do it as well.
Yeah, you should. You should. Tell me, what have you been reading, or playing?
Well, I'm still playing Spider-Man. I'm still watching Shield Hero. But what I did watch, which was kind of new, I guess. So Attack on Titan, it's over. The last part, the last special premiere, whatever the hell you want to call it, part 3.5, it's finally out. It's finished the story after over 10 years. It is just so good. It is brilliant storytelling. Those of you that have watched it to the end, you'll know the amount of and I won't spoil it, but the amount of references that they've had to the previous episodes, how it all ties together, and it sticks pretty closely to the manga, is what I heard as well. So a lot of people are happy about that. It's just awesome, man. And the end sequence, the animation was absolutely insane. I could rewatch Attack on Titan again, and I might, only to just figure out all the things that I missed as you watch the series, because that's kind of how it is. Like you'll pick up on things that was revealed in later episodes, and it really, I think it concluded the series very nicely. Especially if you watch the end credits, it just makes the point, and it's really poignant. You need to watch Attack on Titan. It's so damn good. It's so hard not to spoil it, but yeah, that's what I did. I finished that off.
I really enjoyed the first and second season. By the end of the second season, it started losing me, and then all the hairy Titans got involved, and then it lost me.
You got to get back into it, bro. You have to.
I find it really hard to watch things or read things where they have more than one point of view.
Fair enough.
As soon as they kept straying away from Eren, I was like, dude, whatever. It takes a very special side character for me to get involved, to be invested in. What was it, Samurai Champloo? That obviously that has more than one character, but dude, those 2 guys are awesome together. Or even the girl, she's all right too.
Yeah, fair.
There's 3 characters. It's I find it very hard to get into anything with more than one point of view. That's why I never finished, and I never will, Game of Thrones. No way.
No way.
It just lost me.
Well, the thing about Game of Thrones is that now that you know it ends terribly, literally everyone that I know that likes it, including my wife, said, it ends terribly. Why would you want to go through 7 or 8 seasons, however much it is, when you pretty much know it's a bad ending? But with Attack on Titan, it's a very good ending, so it's worth the payoff.
But that's the wrong. I think that's the wrong way to look at it, though, because you have 7 seasons of greatness ahead of you.
Yeah, but then you have the last one's terrible.
We don't. Life ends, bro. We don't live life knowing it ends and just give up now. You got to smell the roses.
No,
enjoy the 7 seasons for what they are.
No, that's the difference about life. You don't know how it's going to end, but if you do know how a show is going to end and it does end terribly, then it affects your enjoyment, in my opinion. Like if Attack on Titan ended terribly, like it'd be hard to like recommend it to people because I'll be like, yeah, it's worth it. This big payoff, all the references and all the interconnections between the characters and the storylines. It's all worth it in the end. If it's not worth it in the end, why the hell have you watched it for that whole time? That's why I could never watch Game of Thrones.
It's like, have you ever watched Neon Genesis Evangelion?
No, I've heard good things, but I haven't.
Like, yeah, well, you see, you've heard good things. The ending was terrible, bro.
Then I'll never watch it. Sorry,
terrible. I'm pretty sure the anime studio ran out of budget, and like literally the last episode is just like flashcards, dude. Like it's crazy, man, and it doesn't even make sense.
I tell you what, Rob,
everyone loves it, dude. Everyone loves it.
I'll say this. It wasn't as severe, but Full Metal Alchemist didn't have the best ending either. But it wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it's bad.
It didn't. I liked the ending, right? I liked the way things ended up. I liked how they gave me that conclusion. But I feel like you're right. That last climax to the ending, they ran out of budget and were like, all right, boys, we need to wrap this up. We need to wrap this up in 2 episodes because we're not paying you any more after that. So you're 100% right. You're 100% right. You're 100% right.
But I still say you should watch Attack on Titan. Let's see. Convince Rob in the comments below. But that's what we have for what we're watching, playing, and reading. Final segment, as always, is viewer questions. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. We try to answer as many of them as possible. There are some hilarious questions this week, Rob, so I want to read them out to you. First, at John Perez 7487. Do you think that having a bushy beard gives fighters a cushion for taking punches? Rob?
Probably. You know, like it's got to some degree. Science, right?
Kind of, I guess. I mean,
how?
I don't know.
Yeah, how much? You know, is probably minute that it's not even worth doing. But if you know, if Mythbusters want to jump on it, you know, have the dummy with a beard and dummy without, and then you go punching on with it and see which one hits harder. I'm pretty sure the one without the beard's going to be hit harder.
Fair. I would say it's probably less about the cushion. If you had a thick enough beard, a long enough beard, you're hiding your chin a little bit better, so it's a bit of illusion. But like, let's say you're riding a bike, you're not going to trust your hair when you fall on the ground. You're going to die anyway.
True that, dude. Straight up.
The next question is from @OllieClink2271. Thoughts on only knee stomping in a fight against Usman could be meta.
Straight up. Straight up. Yeah, I try to do that whenever I get a chance, dude. So if he's got knees, I'm going to try and stomp him at least once, maybe.
Next question is from @InsideVoid2164. Hey Jonny, how do you feel about Dragon Ball Daima, which starts next year? Though I absolutely love Dragon Ball, I got to say I'd be so bummed if they didn't continue Super. I completely agree. Rob, did you see the trailer for Dragon Ball Daima at all?
No. And what's Super?
Well, Dragon Ball Super is like the latest like continuation of Dragon Ball Z, so like the main series, which is still not finished because they're still continuing it in the manga. But Daima is essentially a spin-off, in my mind, kind of similar to Dragon Ball GT, where all the main characters get shrunken down as kids and they go off on a wacky adventure. I'm not like, it looks cool, it looks like it might be fun, and I like the animation. But I prefer them just to focus on Super because I want to know how Super ends. I don't want to read the manga. I want to see the animation and hear Sean Shamel as Goku. So that's my opinion, Inside Void. Not a fan. The next question that we have is from @Ziden551. What video game was better on the second playthrough and why?
Ooh.
What do you reckon, Rob?
Ooh. I'm going to say Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, good shout.
And it wasn't just the second one. It was like the third playthrough and the fourth playthrough and the fifth like it was the game that just kept on giving, dude. Like literally you could just keep playing it and be like, wow, how did I miss this? Or you could approach things in a new direction that you learned the previous one. It's the game that kept on giving, dude.
Well, especially because when this is my vague memory because I haven't played in a while. You got to the point in the game where it effectively says, all right, whatever actions that you take right now are going to have consequences for the ending. So do you go with the Yes Man? Do you go with Kaiser's Legion, the NCR, blah, 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 blah. That's literally like, and I had to do it because I completed all the achievements for it, but that's literally a reason to continuously play that game and experience all those different stories. I'm going to agree with you, Rob. I will say Fallout New Vegas too. I think that's great.
Yeah. I think Dragon Age Origins was mad for that too.
I need to play that.
You ever got into that?
I need to play that.
That was so good for that.
Yeah.
So good for that because it was the exact same. Like whatever you did during the game affected the final battle. And then obviously the end credits and how everything happened. And then Dragon Age 2, what you did in the first game rolled onto the second.
Oh, really?
So cool. And then in Dragon Age 3, they rolled it on again. I think they did the same thing for Mass Effect. So the things you did in Mass Effect 1 affected 2 and it affected 3. It was like, which is just such a cool concept. That who was it? Is that BioWare?
Mm-hmm. That did Dragon Age.
Yeah, Mass Effect.
Yeah, it is BioWare. Let me
that's
pull
so cool.
BioWare, Edge of Reality, and EA Capital Games apparently all did Dragon Age.
It was cool.
Yeah, I think that is such a cool concept. It takes a lot of like vision and thinking about how you're going to make everyone's save files apply to the next game, and complex coding that I don't even want to think about. But more games should try and do it for sure. Next question that we have is from @will1465. Have either of you ever tried to get your partners into playing games? And if so, what games? Rob, have you tried?
Yes. Yeah, I have. I didn't enjoy it. I'm terrible for wanting my friends to come play with me, but I don't want to help them or teach them or anything, dude. I'm so terrible for that. Like, I just don't have the patience to, like, what game was it I tried to get Sophia into? I can't even remember. I've tried multiple times until probably not for a long time now because I realize it's not fun.
Yeah.
For either of us. She's not enjoying it and I'm not enjoying it. So, what about yourself?
Steph really likes The Sims, so she's already kind of into playing games. Not more than The Sims, like that's all she kind of plays. We've tried to play like Nintendo Switch games before, so her and I love playing Smash Bros together, like just co-oping together. That's the games that we like to play together where we can actually team up and not verse each other, because then she's not having as much fun. But in Super Smash Bros where we can team up and fight other people, or in Mario Party where you can do the team ups and go against the CPUs, those are the moments where she has the most fun. So anytime there is a new, like even Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I wonder if, and no pun intended, if she would actually play that, because I feel like she'd enjoy it. So yes, absolutely, I've tried.
You know what? I think my wife would enjoy playing Mario Party, though. I think she does enjoy it.
Mario Party is a good game. It's such a fun game for the family and everyone to play, honestly. And Mario Kart. She loves Mario Kart too, but everyone loves Mario Kart. Next question is from @Nibe, who I think you've asked some questions before. Question for Rob specifically. Say you and Jonny are stranded on a remote island. How long till you are eating Jonny? Rob?
4 minutes.
Come on, bro. A little bit of time.
Like,
let me breathe.
Like 4 minutes, dude. Like if I went into the boat ride hungry, dude, 4 minutes.
Your big jug of water will survive you for like a good day or two. So I've got some breathing room, all right?
Let's just hope you can fish, Jonny.
I can fish. We just need to get a rod and some bait. I reckon we'll do just fine. You don't need to resort to cannibalism. Yeah. I'm more useful than that.
Yeah, well, you got 3 minutes to work it out. Okay, I'd eat you that quick.
That's exactly the answer that I was expecting from you. Honestly.
I can't help but feel like, knowing our luck, bro, like I'll eat you and then a boat will rock up. Like just after I've like sculled you and I'm about to dig in, a rescue boat will turn up right then. I'm like, Jonny, it happened again. Sorry, bro.
UFC news just dropped too.
The curse.
I actually do think our podcast is cursed. I reckon, and you're all going to be watching this tomorrow, where some big piece of UFC news, some huge announcement's going to come out, and then it's going to be like 6-7 days until we can talk about it again. That 100% is happening after this podcast. But maybe not. Rob.
Let's fingers crossed.
Well, touch wood. I'll touch wood. And that is it. Episode 26 of the MMArcade podcast. Right on the hour mark. We are just nailing these to perfection. Rob, it's been fun, man.
We are professionals.
100% we are.
It has been. And I want to say big thank you to all our listeners on every platform and all our subscribers and people that like and comment. You guys are the fuel that drive us forward. And you guys make it fun.